Good evening, everyone. All right, so we are just in time for today's session. Welcome to day 4 of Stock to Finish, and today is a combination of Stock to Finish and the weekly reset. So we're doing it as two in one rather than having two separate sessions. I decided to make it one session. So let me know if you can hear me. How is my audio? Is my audio any good? Do I need to make any adjustments? I'm just checking my audio. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to do a recap of yesterday's session or what we've done the past 3 days. So we've had 3 days, 3 amazing days, where we've talked about why people get stuck. We define someone that is stuck as someone that is not making progress on one or more projects. And we also agreed that the following things: one, it's not about not completing one task. Oh, thank you. It's not about just not completing one task, but it's about a lot of tasks that you're not completing. So it's not like, oh, I didn't just finish one task, but it's when it has become something that is consistent, continuous, second nature. That's what we mean by stuck. So we looked at it as a chronic illness, and we said it's not just about one area of your life. We're looking at how we can help support you on your journey, make you achieve it, and we're guiding you to finish what you started. So, if you go to the steadfastcreative.com, you can sign up for our upcoming events in July. It may be on July 1st. We have an event coming up that would help you get started and complete what you've started. We also agreed on something else. Everybody is good at starting, people are great at starting. But when it comes to continuing, being consistent, staying on board, that's where people get stuck. That's where they are not making progress. So that's another thing we said we were going to do. Another thing we agreed on was this, that something that could affect the way you get things done is your attitude to work. So we looked at today's conversation is just going to be on that. What we're doing is we're breaking these principles into bite sizes, and we are conquering them one step at a time, one bite at a time. So rather than trying to look at work ethics and attitude to work on the same day, we're going to be looking at them on different days. So tomorrow's work ethics is the conversation. Now, why are we looking at attitude to work? Why is it important? Why do we need to look at attitude to work? And we said that it's because some people see work as punishment, they don't see work as something that's important. So how do you see work? Do you see work as a punishment that is being given to you, as something difficult? Do you see discipline as a word that you shouldn't even be associated with? What is your attitude to work? That's what we're going to be discussing today, and how we can change our attitude to work, how changing your attitude to work impacts the way you work. I don't see work as torture. I don't see work as punishment. I don't see work as the work I do as something ridiculous that I just have to go. Tomorrow is Monday morning. So many people are not looking forward to going to the office. They're not looking forward to the office that they work in. They don't even like the jobs that they do. They see it as torture. And your mindset about work impacts you. But what if it's something that did not start today? What if it's something that has been with you for million years? Not really a million years, but figuratively. What if it's something that has been with you from your childhood? Is it something that you can change? So, yes, we talk about having a wonderful work ethic and attitude to work. So, what do we define as attitude to work? Attitude to work refers to your overall perspective, mindset, and emotional orientation towards work. So that is your overall perspective, mindset, and orientation when it comes to work. So, what is your perspective about work? What is your mindset about work? And what's your emotional orientation towards work? So, what does it encompass? Your beliefs, feelings, and opinions about work related aspects, such as the nature of work, job satisfaction, career goals, and work life balance. Sorry. Attitude to work influences an individual's motivation, engagement, level of enthusiasm in performing your task and responsibilities. Wherever you find yourself, especially with work, you're going to have tasks and responsibilities assigned to you. And if you work in the knowledge economy like me, where you have to do certain things without being told to do them, how do you stay committed? How do you stay grounded? How do you ensure you do what you're supposed to do without anyone watching? And it starts with your attitude to work. And what are the different types of attitude to work? We have a couple, but today I want to look at just two types that I believe that we need to pay attention to. The very first one is your negative attitude to work, and we can give a story. There are some people that when it comes to school work, when it comes to doing anything, they just simply hate it. They complain about every single thing. No matter what you tell them to do, the resources are never enough. NEPA is taking light. My teacher doesn't like me. My line manager doesn't like me. They are always excuses. So you see work as you're pessimistic, you're cynical, you are disengaged. And once you're disengaged, it hinders you from doing certain things. You're not motivated, you're not productive, and this impacts the quality of your work. So for example, there are some people that when it comes to what they like doing, like sports, they are fully engaged. But when it comes to the job that they have or any work that they are meant to do, whether it's when you serve in church, whether it's something you do at home, whether it's the work you do that you get paid to do, some people are very, very, very pessimistic and cynical. They're totally disengaged. They do worse than the bare minimal. Now they talk about quiet quitting because of your employers, but some people are already quiet quitting because they themselves are not ready to do what counts or what matters. And there's a lack of enthusiasm, a tendency to focus on the obstacles rather than the solution, and a general sense of dissatisfaction with work responsibilities. Every responsibility you've been given, you will not do it. Everything you've been told to do, you don't do it. And your negative attitude to work can also impact the lives of people that work with you. So it's not only the negative attitude to work, it's not just you, it impacts your colleagues. And a negative attitude to work, you will never see anything as the right thing to do. You would always have an excuse. You always have a reason to complain. Nothing is ever enough. Think about it. When we talk about our country, Nigeria, everybody kind of has a negative attitude towards leadership. We already know that it's not going to work. We'll complain about the police. So sometimes we are not even willing to play our own parts because we have a negative attitude. And I think worse than the negative attitude is a passive attitude. There are some people that give the bare minimum. They have a passive attitude when it comes to work. They're not willing to do anything, but they act like they are willing to do something. So they do the bare minimum or worse than the bare minimum. They are not proactive. Have you ever worked with somebody that makes you think that they are doing something and then you end up realizing that actually this person is not doing anything. They're just wasting my time. They're acting like they are doing stuff, but they don't take initiative. There is proactive engagement. There's a tendency to avoid taking responsibilities. If they say, "Oh, who will do this?" they would never be the people to bring their hands up. Once the bell rings or the clock strikes, they are out of the office. Any single reason, they are very passive and they are very reactive when it comes to work. And that may be the way you are. So I want you to answer a couple of questions to determine where you are, to determine whether you have a passive attitude to work or a negative attitude to work. You have to be honest with yourself. Ask yourself some questions and answer these questions. Remember, I said earlier that when we are answering these questions, we are answering them based on what we have or what we are currently doing, not what we wish we could do. So it's not about what you want to achieve, the person you want to be, but you're answering these questions and doing a deep reflection based on who you are as at today. So today is the 4th of June 2023 and the time is 9:09 p.m. So we're going to get started with a little quiz that I believe would help you determine how you are doing. But I've heard the audio is good. So let me hear if the audio is good on Facebook and on other platforms. Let me know if you can see me on Facebook today because we've had an issue with the Facebook connection. We'll wait for those on Facebook for a few seconds, but you can get your pen and paper. You can take a screenshot of these questions so you can answer them later. But most importantly, answer these questions. Now, I have a few rules. The rules of the game are simple. Be honest, Be 100% honest when it comes to work. How do you define work? What is your definition of work? Not another person's definition, not the dictionary definition. I want you to define work on your own terms. So, we're going to do a little self reflection so that you can look at your work behavior and actions. So don't say, oh, I don't have a job yet. Think about it. If you're a student, how do I study? What are my actions when it comes to studying? What are my actions when it comes to getting something done? In the knowledge economy, every single thing is going to change. May not have, it's evolving. AI is changing the way we get things done. So we have to be ready. We have to be proactive. And most people are very reactive when it comes to them. Now, I already asked the first question, so I would ask it again. What does work mean to you? How do you define its purpose and significance in your life? And maybe what I could do for you, I don't know what you think is, I could attempt to answer these questions as you're answering them and give you enough time to answer. And when you're done with the first one, let me know. But what does work mean to you? And if you can hear me, Esther, let me type in the chat and let me know where you're listening from. So, what does work mean to you? How do you define its purpose and significance in your life? For me, work is about serving. So whatever I do is about service. So as a Christian, for me, that's where I take my bearing from. So if you want to be great in God's kingdom, learn to be a servant of all. And I see my work as an expansion of the gift God has given me. So God has given every single person a gift, and with that gift comes let's look at the parable of the talents. Everybody was given different talents. Some people eat it, some people multiplied it. We all know how the story goes. I see work as that, as my way of multiplying what God has given me. And as I take a step every day, I am improving, I am getting better, I am seeing different ways I could use my gift. So for me, I define its purpose and significance in my life based on my relationship with God. I see my work as a service, not necessarily as just a job. I see it as a career. I was talking to Pastor Tyre today and he said, what you do is talent discovery. You help people discover what they are good at and then you set them on their way. And I agree. For others, that may be work, but for me, that is life. So I don't see work as something tedious and difficult and almost impossible for me to accomplish. How do you see work? When you think about work, do you freeze up? Do you just get angry immediately and start saying, no, not this work again? What are the things you tell yourself when it comes to getting to work? As a Sunday evening, tomorrow is Monday. What's your impression about Monday mornings? Do you get angry when you think about work? Do you complain about the tons and tons of work you have on your table that you just can't accomplish? What do you do or how do you see work? Very simple. If you're through with the first one, let me know. Thank you, Ibuku. If you're through with the first question, let me know so that I can go to the second one. But Ibuku is watching from Nigeria, and Grandma is watching from Lagos, Nigeria, also. So we've got one LinkedIn, one YouTube. Let's see if someone from Facebook can say hello to us so we know if the Facebook link is working. But yes, like I said, these sessions are for you to do a deep reflection. It's not enough for you to want to do well at work. But if you're not doing well at work, then you need to wake up. You need to wake up. So, attitude to work is the first one. Now, what's the second question I want to find out about you? What are your strengths and areas of improvement when it comes to your attitude to work? So, your strengths and areas of improvement when it comes to your attitude to work. Do you see areas that you want to improve when it comes to your attitude to work? Is your attitude to work to complain because you do not know what to do? Is your attitude to work something that, oh, I wish I knew better, I don't know what to do, so I'm a failure? Or do you see that, you know what, I'm someone that is a go-getter. I may not know what to do yet because I have not worked here for years, but I am willing to learn. Are you willing to learn? Are you curious? What is your own personality when it comes to work? Are you someone that when you get an app, when you get something, you're willing to explore it? Or are you someone that is passive and just like learning by being told what to do? This is an opportunity for you to reflect. And I feel that as knowledge economy people, as social media managers, as people that are working in the digital age, we need to know these things. So, what are your strengths and areas for improvement when it comes to your attitude to work? So, my own strengths will be, so areas of improvement, you can just call them your weaknesses. I didn't want to call them weaknesses. And I think one of my own weaknesses, I will start with that, is delegation. I struggle to delegate and let go. So when it comes to leading, leadership is not just about doing everything for people, but sometimes it's allowing them to go out and do certain things for themselves. So you see me sometimes giving out some task, but I fell into leadership. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. It's not something that I practically even enjoy doing all the time, but it's something that I do. And when I do it as service. So what are my strengths? The ability to see the best in others. My curiosity is my strength. I am very curious when it comes to work and when it comes to apps, when it comes to tools. I'm always curious about how I can add value when it comes to engaging with knowledge. I am thirsty for knowledge. That's a strength in my industry. What's your industry like? What are the strengths in your industry that you need to have when it comes to your attitude to work? What are your strengths? So, as someone that always sees the best in people, even if I may have difficulties with social media managers, with clients, or with anything, my attitude to work is always there is always a better way. Things will get better. I am very optimistic. I am not pessimistic. So, what about you? Let me know if you're true with this question. Then we go to the next one. So, I'm waiting. So, for those listening, if you're listening from Facebook, please say hello so I know what's happening. So, by looking at your attitude to work, your strengths, and areas for improvement. And I said, just see areas of improvement like your weaknesses. And I always say this, especially when it comes to getting things done or certain things. Some people will say, I don't have a weakness. Some people say, oh, I don't have a competition when it comes to competition analysis, for example. But understanding, having a true reflection, I wish we could have an MRI machine that would just scan our lives and point out these areas. Unfortunately, we don't. So we need to take that mirror in front of us and ask the right questions and definitely get the right answers. Now, what are your core beliefs about work? Are these beliefs serving you well or hindering your attitude towards work? Now, when it comes to core beliefs about work, let me share a little secret. For some people, your core beliefs are tied to your religion, they are tied to your ideologies, they are tied to different things. For me, first of all, as a Christian, my core beliefs and my core foundation is the scriptures always. Now, when it comes to work, like I said earlier, I see work as an extension, as service, because God has given me a gift. I must give a gift. God says there is no food for lazy man. There's no, so we have to work to earn what we use. I believe in integrity. I believe in honesty. I believe in quite a few things, but I want to know one word or core beliefs about work is. So I'll give you a few seconds and then we can move on. I've given a couple of mine so that I will give you the opportunity to write. So I don't believe that you need to walk all the time. I don't believe in hustle culture. I'm sure if you've listened to me for a couple of months, years, you will know that that's not something I believe in. I believe in working hard and working smart. I believe that if you work based on your personality. So if you're an introvert, you approach work in a different way. If you're an extrovert, you approach work in a different way. But whether you're an introvert, ambivert, or extrovert, your attitude to work is always something that is optimistic, looking for the best result. I believe there are no shortcuts. I believe that hard work leads to success. So you need to start writing what you believe. As I'm giving you examples, please give me an example of what you believe. I believe that we should strike balance in everything. I don't do it all the time. I work on a Sunday, imagine. So am I striking balance? I believe work life balance is important. That's recognizing the significance of maintaining a healthy balance. I believe on continuous learning and growth. I invest in my learning and growth. I am a bookie. I read lots of books, so I invest in my learning and growth. I believe in collaboration and teamwork. I believe that there's LD competition and collaboration over competition. So I collaborate with Eme, I collaborate with Folakemi, I collaborate with quite a lot of people, Nene, Folakemi, Eme, because that's what I believe. I believe that work is meaningful and purposeful. So I'm still waiting for you to share your beliefs. Hope you're writing. I believe that work is meaningful and purposeful, and this should have a greater purpose beyond mere financial gain and striving to find meaning and fulfillment in the task and responsibilities undertaken. I believe that everything should be done decently and in order, and that's from my mother. She always says everything should be done decently and in order. I think that's a scripture, and I believe in ethical conduct and integrity. So for me, integrity, reliability, dependability, those things are core to who I am. I believe in discipline. I believe in respecting my time and respecting other people's time. I believe in quite a few things that I have mentioned, but I'm waiting to see if anybody will share their own core beliefs with me. What are your core beliefs when it comes to work? Now, the second part of this question says, are these core beliefs serving me well or hindering my attitude to work? I think my core beliefs are serving me well and not hindering my attitude to work. I don't believe in cutting corners. I believe in serving others. Will I say hindering my attitude? No. I know that sometimes, yes, there are certain things I allow to happen, but it doesn't hinder my attitude to work. It doesn't affect my attitude to work. So, yes, for me, my core beliefs are foundational. They are great. If your core beliefs are not great and they are hindering your attitude to work and they are not serving you well, then it's time to think about core beliefs. And there are a couple of questions you can ask yourself about work, about life, about your attitude. I believe anything doing is worth doing well. I believe that if I'm either playing or working, I'm either resting or working, I'm either working or resting. I can't be doing two things at the same time because I can't serve two masters. I need to give them my attention, complete attention. I believe in doing what I have said I will do, keeping my word to myself and keeping my word to others. So those are a few things that I believe about work. Now, this is a simple one that I think you should answer, and it's still part of your self reflection questions. So, how do you handle challenges, difficulties, setback, difficult task? Are you the one that runs away from opportunities for growth, or you run towards them? Do you embrace these opportunities for growth, or do you shy away from them? I Anybody that knows me knows the response to this. And I will give an example. As someone who lives a chronic illness, I have reinvented myself a million and one times, and I have been able to take other people along with me on the journey. I've been able to live with this and move from an academic route to the path that I am. So I'm the queen of reinventing the wheel. And one thing I always say is challenges don't make me scared. As someone, if you do the Gallup Strength Finder test, they find your strongest part. And the meaning of restorative is part of my Strength Finder science. And it just talked about people that run towards burning bridges and rather than running away from them. But what is your own attitude to challenges? There are some people that don't like stress, they don't like difficult tasks. If that's who you are, be honest. Do you tend to see difficult tasks that have been assigned to you as an opportunity for growth, or will you say, I'm not willing to take this? For example, Esther that is listening to this call, she made a slideshow. She made a slideshow with me last week, and she also did work again this week. And it showed me that she was willing to run towards these challenges, not run away from them. Why? Why is that important? Why is it important to run towards challenges and embrace them? Because you grow from them. We're not expecting, I think within restorative, one thing I love is I'm never expecting perfection from anybody. I'm expecting you to see everything as a learning opportunity. For example, Gloria worked with MF for the first time on a very challenging project, but she embraced it, and I'm sure when she's going to write what she has learned from it, which I would encourage her to write. What are the things you learn about working with as a virtual assistant with MA? All these little things are opportunities for growth. Now, as we're looking at attitude to work, We have to be honest. If you're someone that runs away from this, it's okay. That doesn't mean you would have to all the time. But it's good to know where you are. Next one, how do I typically approach work tasks? Do I feel motivated or enthusiastic, or do I experience resistance or negativity? Now, this you have to answer. I remember when I worked in a call center, there are some times when they tell you to make outbound calls, you don't want to make them. When you want to do certain things, you don't want to. I realized that whenever I had a negative attitude towards anything, I closed up and I couldn't do it. Whenever I said this is going to fail, it failed. Whenever I resisted growth, I did not grow. So I have tried my best, and now what I usually do with work task is I see every challenge as an opportunity to learn. Even if I don't know it, I am willing to learn. In the past, I held myself back because I was not willing to fail while I was learning. Society has made us think that success, people, especially now with the digital age, you would think that everybody made it at their first attempt. No, it's not always that way. The typical approach to work task, the things that you have to do daily, the little things, are they things that you shy away from, or are they things that you run towards? And if you are someone that shies away from the little tasks that you have to do, not the one that when you have to take a bow and let everybody see what you've done, but the things you do behind the scenes, work task, are you motivated to do it? Are you enthusiastic about it? Or really, in reality, do you experience resistance? Oh, I have to write a blog post. There's already resistance towards you. Why do I have to post on social media to be talking to these people every day? The way I don't embrace going live, I don't like creating videos, I don't like doing things. That alone impacts the way you do work. And you may think that it's just one aspect of your life, but gradually it slips into other areas of your life. What factors such as intrinsic motivation or external rewards influence my level of motivation and commitment at work? So, are you motivated because your line manager is going to know if you don't get things done? As a social media manager, most of the time, you are not with anybody 24/7. You are doing your work on your own. So, what are the intrinsic motivations? Is it that the clients will shout? Is it that the work will get done? Or are there external rewards that influence your level of motivation and commitment at work? Are you more motivated to work when you like a client and like a project? I was telling Emma that at this rate, almost every project I take, I believe in. If I don't believe in a project, I can't take it and work with it. So I choose where to to spread my energy because I like stress. So I choose where to put myself and present myself. And with some people, you may not have that opportunity to do that. You may be forced to work in a 9 to 5 office. But what motivates you to get up in the morning? Is it the job? Is it the money? The fact that you can pay the bills? Are there external rewards that influence your level of motivation and commitment at work? Is your motivation tied to what you get from it? Or is your motivation tied to you, your core beliefs, and what you've decided to do? Simple but effective questions. Like I said, today we're doing more questions and self reflections before you plan. Now, we're just going to run through this quickly. This one's talking about your values. How values alignment helps you could measure your attitude to work. Last week we talked about your attitude to work. I said last week, your attitude to work could be as a result of your upbringing, your culture, the way you were forced to do work. You are not meant to be idle, you're always meant to be busy. That may impact your attitude to work. So you may have a negative attitude towards work already. Now let's change that around. Let us see if we use your values, we can help you realign yourself to work. So, what are values? When you hear values, what comes to mind? Who wants to help me out? What are values? I just want to know someone is right listening. So if you don't have a definition, just say values, and I will know that yes, at least you're still listening. But I see values as what I hold, the beliefs that I hold, the principles that guide my behavior and decision making. So one of my values or core values is integrity. So that guides my decision making. So I will not take advantage of someone just because I can take advantage of them. So that's one of my core values. If once your one of your core values is integrity, then it should impact the way you work. If one of your core values is, what other core values can we give example on, and how can it dependability is another value, that I want to be someone that people can depend on. Does the work I do daily make me a dependable person? So sometimes we're asking ourselves questions, more questions daily, because it's supposed to help us think. I want you to rethink the way you see work and see if you can make a value alignment with the work that you do. If there's a misalignment with what you currently do, then it's about time to change it. So, values are deeply held beliefs and principles that guide our behavior and decision making. Because work is about decision making. You make a decision to do the work well, or you make a decision not to. They serve as a compass influencing our attitudes, choices, and actions. That goes back to work. So, there's still a value alignment. Your actions is the work, what you do. Also, they do something else. They shape your perception of what is right and wrong, and what is desirable and undesirable, and what we prioritize in different aspects of our lives. We're not limiting work to what you just do in the office. Thank you, Ibukun. By looking at work as everything you do, how you show up. If you're working out, that is the work that you're doing at that point in time. But remember when we started, I said, how do you define work? What's your definition of work? You need to know what you define as work. So, as we're looking at realignment, let's see some examples of values that I think you can have. One of my values is compassion, and this is about showing kindness and empathy to anybody. And anybody that works with me knows that yes, I show compassion to people all the time. I think I'm a bit more extreme when it comes to showing compassion, because I always see, oh, there's a way out of this. And if people that have this value, they are different, they are unique like me. Innovation. And when it comes to work and anything, innovation is something, curiosity is something. I want you to think about values. We talked about honesty, we've talked about other things. Some people, curiosity, adventure, equality. There are many examples of values for individuals. So individuals have values, organizations have values. I don't want you to think about your values from your organization's perspective. I want you to look deep into yourself and think about the values that you hold. If you want me to list more values, I can list more values. Just write list and I'll list more values for you. But I wish there was a way you could just think about values without trying to imitate someone else's values. But examples are honesty, respect, integrity, compassion, empathy, trustworthiness, accountability, fairness, equality. I mean, when I say accountability, it's not about being accountable to someone, but first of all, being accountable to myself, doing what I say I will do. So when it comes to the work that you're going to do next week, we're going to have time to define what exactly what we're doing, then we're going to actually get it done. And I will also have an opportunity to check in with you and find out if you did what we said last week. Because Esther, remind me, we had assignment for last week. So let's start checking in, because we're about to come to the end of today's session on work. Now, one thing that is difficult to hear, one way to find out about your attitude to work, is actually seeking feedback. Now, sometimes when people give you feedback, be prepared. Not everyone is going to give the feedback in a way that is constructive and that would help you. So you have to seek feedback from trusted people in your life, your colleagues, your supervisors, mentors regarding your work attitude. You ask them for honest observations and suggestions for improvement, because it's not enough for them to point out what's wrong, but sometimes they have to point out suggestions for improvement. You can even ask your friends that you know that are great with you, what's my attitude to work? How do I look at work? Am I always complaining about work? Am I always upset about work? Does work get me overexcited? Am I so invested in work that I can't sleep? What are your what is the feedback that you're going to receive? And when you receive this feedback, use it as an opportunity to enhance yourself, to improve yourself, enhance your attitude towards work. Because we're looking at having a positive attitude towards work. And one thing you can do, one way you can do it, or these are four things. So take a screenshot, write this down, put it somewhere. Why are you scared about work? What are your fears and insecurities when it comes to work? What are your fears and insecurity? Remember, your fears and insecurities when it comes to work. Are you afraid of making a mistake? Are you afraid of failing? Are you afraid of looking stupid? Are you afraid of looking silly in front of people? Are you afraid of being shouted out? Does this come from the way you're treated in primary school, secondary school, or back home when you did not do your coursework, you did not do your assignment, you did not do your homework, or you failed, or you missed a score? Or you did not get the grade you were supposed to grade, or you did not get into the school that you were supposed to get into? Are those fears and insecurities holding you back from succeeding? What is actually holding you back from achieving your goals? What do you think, or what do you believe is holding you back from achieving your goals? Because something is holding you back. We talked about success. What is your belief about success? Do you believe success is about having 10 mansions? Do you believe that success is about going viral, having a million followers, like by using the digital age, always traveling in first class, going on a yacht? Do you believe that is success? What does it mean to be successful to me? What does success mean to you? Now, we've talked about success in the past, but now let's talk about failures. What are your beliefs about failures? Do you see when people don't succeed or things don't go out their way? Do you think that that makes them failures, or that just means that that project was not successful? Do you believe that you can learn from failures? You do a product launch, you were expecting to sell 1 million, you sold 5. Are there lessons you can learn from that failure? How have you handled failure in the past? Have you ever failed at anything? Are there things in your life that you've not succeeded at? How do you handle failure? What's your belief about life? What is the meaning of life to you? Now, these are the four questions I want you to answer this week. So take a screenshot, figure it out. When you're done, tell me done, and then I'll move to the next part. But basically, what I want you to do is rethink the way you see yourself, understand the way you see success, understand the way you see failure. Failure is part of life. There are sometimes that you would think that because of this failure, there is a setback and you are not able to make progress. But the truth is, sometimes these setbacks actually make us sit down and learn. They get our attention. Now, we're not saying that you won't do everything in your power to succeed. But when you know you've done every other thing that needed to be done for a product to sell. So, what I asked myself about the planner when I realized we had not sold is this: did we do every single thing we were supposed to do for the second set of the physical planners going to Nigeria? Did we actually do every single thing we were supposed to do? And the answer was no, we did not. So now, how are we going to make changes? So that's why I like question Emma asked Oyindamola and I today. How are we going to make changes now to ensure that we do every single thing we're supposed to do for this launch for the July event? What are we going to do about it? How are we going to ensure that we do every single thing within our power to meet up? Sometimes we learn from your past mistakes. If not, history will keep repeating itself. The reason we learn from history is so that we do not make the mistakes others have made, but really, we actually do. So it's about looking at case studies, listening to other people's conversations, expanding your reach, going beyond what has been given to you, going beyond the surface. The beautiful thing about the information age is also the most disastrous thing about it. There's information overload. So any information we want anywhere, we can Google it and find it. But most of us don't even go that far. We just let go and abandon everything. What does life mean to you? Do you see life as something precious? Do you see life as something that is torturous? Do you actually enjoy living your life? Simple but effective questions for us to deliberate on, because we have to. Sometimes we are in such a hurry that we forget what we want to do, or why we started what we are doing. We leave everything to the next day, till tomorrow, till after, till later. What about now? What are you going to do now that will make you live with someone that makes someone that is reliable and dependable? Now, when you hear reliability and dependability, I want to hear from you. What comes to your mind? Will you work with someone that is reliable and dependable, or will you rather not work with somebody that is reliable and dependable? So when it comes to picking a team and they say, oh, someone that is reliable or dependable or someone that is fast, who would you pick? Let me know if what your answer will be in the chat. Reliability and dependability, speed, experience. Which one would you rather go for? Esther, remind me of the homework we did so that we can end the session. We've got like 10 minutes because we are extending to the weekly reflection. All right, so I think I've given you a couple of minutes to answer that question. Reliability and dependability are quite important things that we should have. And most of us, if we look at ourselves, we are not these things to people. We want these things from people, but we don't have these things to give. We want a situation where someone is reliable and someone is dependable. Are you a reliable and dependable person? Can people trust you to do what you're supposed to do? Do you have a situation where you are the only person left, you will do actually what needs to be done? If everybody has gone away and you're the one that is supposed to do the task, will you do it? Most companies want people that are reliable and dependable, but the truth is, most of us are not. How do we become the best version of ourselves? How do we become people that are reliable and dependable, that people can trust us to do what we've said we will do? And it's about being honest with yourself. What's your attitude to time management? It's about writing down every single thing. It's about having clarity. It's about having structure. Yes, a negative attitude to work or a passive attitude to work, it can decrease motivation, it can decrease motivation, it can reduce productivity, it can lead to a decline in work quality, strained relationship with your colleagues because everybody is tired of you not meeting your own path. There's limited career growth. I can go on about the negative effects of not being someone that is reliable and dependable. But if we're getting feedback, if we're looking at our productivity, if we're looking at the way we work, what we do, what we don't do, what are the things I planned to do last week? What did I eventually do? Those are questions that you have to answer. In what way do you adapt? Do you demonstrate adaptability and resilience when it comes to work? Are you someone that when you are given a task, you do it immediately, or do you wait? Do you consistently meet deadlines and fulfill your work responsibilities? Yes or no? Do you take initiative and go the extra mile to deliver high quality content? Are you honest? Do you maintain integrity in all your professional interactions? Do you demonstrate professionalism in how you communicate and conduct yourself at work? Are you reliable, punctual, and consistent when it comes to showing up for work on meetings, even if it's virtual meetings? Do you take ownership of your mistakes and learn from them to improve your performance? Are you actively seeking opportunities for professional and personal growth? Do you communicate openly and respectfully with others? Are you taking ownership of your own mistakes? Are you taking accountability for your actions or responsibility for the outcomes? Do you prioritize your opinion over other people's opinion? Do you handle confidential information properly? Do you adhere to work ethics and work standards? These may be simple questions, but they're quite effective questions that we have to answer. We have to be people that are reliable, dependable, flexible. And it starts with what you tell yourself and how you see yourself. So, what do you tell yourself about work? How do you see work? Do you see work as torture or do you see it as something that you need to get done? Time to reflect and get this out of the way. So, last week we talked about three sets of goals: your learning goal, your sharing goal, and your working goal. And I'm just looking to see how many people actually looked at these goals, how many people set these goals, how many people went the extra mile to do what we were supposed to do, because nobody tagged me. We said that we're going to learn something, at least one thing last week. Then we're going to share it and then we're going to work. Now, today we've talked about your attitude to work. If you know you did not even make an attempt to do the task, that's what you making a commitment and not meeting that commitment. So you decide what happens. No one else is going to decide what happens to you. But there should be consequences for our actions and inactions. And if we keep just getting away with things, we're not going to see the importance of work. When it comes to getting things done, when it comes to being productive, when it comes to being the best version of yourself, no one is going to come down and help you get it done. You have to show up for yourself every day. So thank you all for joining. So tomorrow we have day 5 of um the stock to unstock. The aim is just to help people get unstuck and find out better ways to get things done. That doesn't change. So tomorrow is going to be 9 a.m. Sorry. Tomorrow is going to be 9 a.m. Same places that you've listened to me today. But we're meeting at 9 a.m. And the aim is to look at work ethics, something else entirely. So tomorrow we're looking at work ethics, and I will define it first, then we'll talk about it in more details tomorrow. And we just said work ethics refers to the way individuals behave and conduct themselves in the workplace, encompassing their commitment, integrity, professionalism, accountability, and decisions to their work and responsibilities. And we're looking at work ethics, especially when it comes to virtual work, because most of us work in the hybrid way. So we have a situation where our work is dependent on others, but we don't get to see them physically. So we're growing with people that we may never meet face to face, but we're growing together and working together. How can we have good work ethics that respects other people's time when we are working remotely? When you have an hybrid workforce, when you are never together, but you are working and thriving. All right, Esther, let me know if there are any questions from you that you want us to answer today, so we can at least pick one or two questions and then we will call it a day. But yeah, so Esther is working with me on this project. We're both showing up every Sunday by 9 p.m. But for the month of July, for June and July, I'll be doing it in collaboration with my stock to unstock series. All right, I guess Esther doesn't have any question. Next week, we'll be answering questions regarding content creation and showing you ways you can create content better. But thank you all for joining my session today. I look forward to speaking with you tomorrow at 9 a.m. And if you're watching the replay at any time, just say replay, replay gang, and we understand it's you. All right, then. Cheers. Bye.